I just got a simple comment that I really think speaks to the psychology of Nick Shell and hair loss and what all this channel is about. Okay, here we go. I made a video called Your Voting Results. Chris Pratt is Norwood too, but ... Daniel Lesving Lawrenson had this to say, and it was very simple. He said, quote, "In my opinion, you look better bald than with hair," end quote. I like comments like this because they challenge me. They challenge the fundamentals of my psychology as I remind myself and on all of us, is this really about what's gonna make me look best versus what do I want to look like as it's part of my identity, right? So much about this channel is about embracing hair loss as part of your identity. And yet it's not, what it's not about is what's going to make me look the best. At the same time, I talk about, okay, with the hair loss that you've got, with the hair that you still have, what's the best looking version of you that you can have? And I think, so I'm going with all of these different like paradoxes within myself and on this channel. And it's interesting because I think all of the above ultimately apply. You know, why don't I just buzz it off and keep it off? Well, part of me feels responsible as a YouTuber who has a channel dedicated towards guys with hair loss. I want to explore all the avenues of things you could do if you've got Norwood 3 with thinning, like this disconnected part hairstyle I have, which a lot of you feel is one of the best styles for me. So at the same time though, I think for me personally, it's not about me trying to look the best version of myself. And maybe arguably this is the best version of myself. I think it's hard for me to know personally, because I think I've still got enough hair where I can rock a couple different styles and still look, you know, good. But ultimately, in the end of it, I don't know that looking the best is really my goal. I think my goal is having a hairstyle that represents how I feel that at that time. You know, it's been, next week for Christmas will be 2 years since I've buzzed my hair off. 2 whole years and a whole year since I've been using rosemary. So it's funny because like Christmas serves as this moment on the calendar where I tend to make decisions. I don't know. But I think ultimately as you're understanding my psychology, part of my struggles that I have is not about like hair loss affecting my self-esteem or being obsessed about hair loss. More so it's me thinking, okay, what do I feel like looking like right now? Not so much what's the best looking version of me. And I think there'd be a mixed vote if I were to say, well, what do you think looks better? You know, the disconnected part, 2.5 inches on top, 2 on the sides versus buzz cut. You know, and I've asked that question before and I always get mixed reviews. And I think ultimately, in my opinion, I probably on paper look best this or with the buzz cut, like at a number 1.5. But I think what I have to remind myself of out loud is ultimately this comes down to, what do I feel like looking like? Like, what is the best avatar? Like for me right now, wearing this Captain America sweater the week before Christmas, this represents who I am right now, you know? And I think that we have to remind ourselves of that too. If this were simply about what's the hairstyle that is going to make you look the very best, I don't think that's the end all. I think sometimes you feel like looking your best and you want to have a hairstyle that represents that. But like for me right now, it's not so, like I feel good. I feel like I look good. I do. We voted I'm a number 6 out of 10, but right now I feel closer to 7, just being honest. I feel this looks good, but it doesn't affect my confidence level either way. It's just like I can identify there are times that I look better than others with my hair. But ultimately, I think for me personally, it comes down to me having the hairstyle that most matches how I feel inside at that month or that season or that day or whatever it is. And right now I still have options. And I think it always goes back to that battle of so many people want me to buzz my hair off and say, well, your ratings will go up, you'll have more subscribers. But ultimately, I think what matters more is me having a hairstyle that really represents how I feel right now. And right now, this is how I feel.